All right, all right. We are live again for our second time.
Let's go.
We had to jump on because Trump just had a little speech about free speech, what he plans to do with free speech. And I will tell you guys right off the bat, free speech and how the Democrats were pushing that down terrified me.
Yeah.
Especially as content creators. You can't say what you want to say or you're going to get taken down. The View and Whoopi Goldberg said that's the reason that Kamala didn't win was because they didn't censor people online.
It's completely backwards.
Yeah, so this is about a 5 to 6 minute video, but we're going to go through this with you guys. And I've only seen the first minute, but as soon as I saw it, I said, okay, I have to cut it off.
He's already starting, and he's not even in yet. He's president-elect, but he is just about to be in office in about 75 days, but he's already starting to make changes and statements about what he's going to do. So I'm super excited to see this.
Absolutely. And also, guys, if you can't hear us or if the video we're playing you can't hear, please comment and we will fix that right away. This is our second time going live, so we're figuring out some kinks. All right, here we go. Donald J. Trump. Let's see what he says.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down.
Yep.
That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people.
Wow.
They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And
let's freaking go, dude. The censorship cartel needs to end.
Well, they control the town square, and that's, I think in a lot of ways, that's why when Elon bought X, it literally saved this country.
Yeah.
Because the coverage about Trump was 90% negative, and the coverage about Kamala was like 85% positive. So when you have ascending points or descending views that are so completely backwards and propagandized to further the political activity of a specific candidate, you end up falling into an echo chamber to where you can't hear other ascending points of view. You have to have every point of view on the platform.
Well, it was really Zuckerberg coming out and saying what the Biden-Harris campaign did, that they intentionally told them to suppress what people were saying.
About the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yep, that, the vid, all that kind of things. So people are terrified to share stuff. I know people online that had to create 5 to 10 different profiles because they kept getting banned or whatever reason. Or on YouTube, you can't even say it. We went to a conference in August of this year, and it was actually a Christian conference for media because I have some clients that I work with for that are Christian related as well. I mean, we're Christians, and they had to give us keywords. You were there with me. Keywords about what not to say on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so even for this, because we're watching this from an X video, the guy that shared it, which Joe Rogan shared his post, by the way, he said, finally, I can say what I want to on YouTube without fear of losing everything.
Yeah. I think we just had a comment from Mishka. It's not that we need to have every view on platforms. Let's show this on the screen so people can see it. It's not that we need to have every view on the platform, which we do. We need people to have equal access to the views and not be garaged and compartmentalized. 100% agree with you on that.
What does Vivek say? And again, I agree with exactly with you, Mishka. What does Vivek say?
It's Mishka, not Mishka.
Mishka. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. But I will say, what does Vivek say all the time?
Yeah.
He says, we aren't going to have the same views, but I will fight to the death to protect your right to have the view that you want.
Yeah.
Right? We are going to have views that a lot of people won't agree with.
Yeah.
But I want to hear why you don't agree with it, and we can actually have a discussion. That's the whole point. That's why the whole I'm not going to be friends with you if you're a Democrat or Republican is ridiculous, just because we can learn from each other. I have very strong views. You have very strong views, but we're going to learn from each other and get better from it.
We have to get better, guys, at our town square communication. We have to allow for other people to have their viewpoint posted and pushed on any platform that you have. Because if you don't have free speech, what do you have in a society? You start to lock people up, because there was a guy in the UK that got locked up in prison because he put a meme out.
Yeah. Real quick. So it's Misha. All right, Misha. Good to meet Misha. He's a Russian name. He's Australian from California. God bless Donald Trump. I'm an American citizen. Very proud of it. Let's
She's
go.
Austrian, not Australian.
Huh?
Austrian.
Okay. I'm off my keister today. I'm producing, changing cameras and everything.
I got you, Misha. I got you.
Misha,
no problem.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you. But let's continue with this.
Here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation.
Thank you.
Promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech.
There is a totally different tonality to him this time than 2016. He's on a path, man. He's on a war path. He's not. And Lara Trump was on PBD recently. And I saw that. She said when he got into office in 2016, he didn't know anybody. So he was just trusting different people to take positions
thousands of appointments, thousands.
And he had no idea who anybody was. He learned over the last 8 years exactly who the bad apples were in Washington and who were the good ones. And it's really interesting to see, like Mike Pompeo, who he had as his Secretary of Defense in 2016, is a war hawk.
Yeah.
And wanted to go overseas and always involve us in wars. And Trump even said that he had people that he established that were just bad.
Yeah.
And if the reality is he even mentioned that he was so frustrated with the deep state that they were constantly coming after him for the Russia hoax, to impeaching him twice, 34 felony counts. I mean, there's only so much a human being can take, and yet the resilience and the strength that he showed while being under fire, while trying to run a country, is absolutely incredible. And I cannot wait to see who he puts as Secretary of State, Treasury. He's putting RFK as the health secretary to get rid of all of the pesticides and herbicides, all these nasty, harmful chemicals in our food. It's going to be super fun to watch.
It's absolutely incredible what's already happened in the first 3 days.
Yeah.
And for him to come out and say this, I actually had one of my friends, I'm not going to say who they are, they said, "Oh, why didn't he wait till January?" Just because this paints a target on his back.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, because now all of these big companies that are going to be affected, that can't be agenda driven as much, they have to actually listen to the people speak.
Yeah,
they're not going to want this at all, and this is going to put a huge target on his back 2 months ahead of time.
well, they already strengthened his security by like 5-fold at Mar-a-Lago.
Exactly.
There's like little robots like running around outside of Mar-a-Lago doing security. It's actually pretty funny to see.
You want to read off some of Misha's?
Oh my gosh, Misha, you're a killer.
Like, and also, if you have articles, send them to our email. Our email should be in the description. We'll look over it. We might actually do a video on it. We'll reference you, so we really appreciate the information. And we also recommend that for anybody. If you have information that will help us with research, you want us to go over a video, it could be anything, just send us an email. We'll look it over, and we might use it.
Yeah, if you want. So let's do the one at 4:51 p.m.
For this one?
Yep. No, the one below it.
The one below this one?
No, below it, not above it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Prevailing wage Social Security card number scramble allows for extra Social Security card numbers. Wake up, world. 100% right on that one. Prevailing wage is disputes get forced into mitigation where evidence is not allowed. This creates a loophole for corruption and high Social Security numbers and wage arguments. So there's a lot of issues with our financial system right now, and big donors as well as big corporate interests are making a killing off of regulatory loophole, specifically with the tax code. Even Trump in 2016, when he was debating Hillary Clinton, he said, they said, well, you don't pay any income tax. You don't pay this. You don't pay that. He's like, I just use the system that you guys gave me that her donors actually allowed. Why wouldn't I use it to my advantage?
Yeah.
Right? The tax code is insanely complicated. Nobody really understands it. I guarantee you Gary Gensler is going to get fired as the head of the SEC.
Yeah.
That absolutely needs to happen. And we need total reform when it comes to regulatory bodies for financial transactions and disputes. Because if you do not have clarity on what the laws are specifically around blockchain and AI technology, it's such a gray area, especially cryptocurrency. Nobody knows what the laws are. So we're stepping on toes trying to figure out how to become compliant when there is no actual path to be compliant.
Yeah.
And so if you're not able to have good regulation instead of overarching regulation, you create a dictatorship style of fear, which you end up getting all these civil penalties and even potentially jail time. It's
my favorite thing. They say they're going to go after the billionaires to pay their fair share.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they've been in office, 16 or 12 of the last 16 years?
Mm-hmm.
That's their biggest, that and abortion.
Even PBD he said, when it comes to having more tax cuts for corporations, if the corporation knows that they're going to get tax cuts, where does that money go? If the corporate owner of the company, where does that money go? If I know that I'm going to get 15% tax instead of 21%, that 6% margin can go directly back into innovation, building my business,
instead
putting
of the
money
government, where the
having
government
bonuses
decides,
for my employees,
and the government sends more money to Ukraine. But that's neither here nor there. There's a couple minutes left. Let's keep seeing if there's anything else he has to say. Misha, I love your comments. We'll try to get to them. If not, we appreciate it. Let's do this. All right, let's keep going.
Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support.
Harvard, you're done.
5 years and maybe more.
Yale, you're done.
We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country.
Wow.
Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely, and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
Wow.
You know, the funniest thing about all of this is that who's the best stock trader for the last 2 years
Stock trader?
in America?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but it's been Warren Buffett forever.
No,
right?
I'm talking about a politician.
I don't know.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, yeah.
She's made over $500 million trading stocks. If that doesn't show you corporate interest at its finest when it comes to insider trading, if you are a congressman, you should not be allowed to trade stock, period. Because you have insider access to what these companies are going to do. So that's why these guys created an app.
Yeah,
for
you
it.
can influence it because, for example,
Yeah,
Trump winning.
Yeah.
What if you had inside information into all those numbers that he was going to win?
You would have bet on Polymarket and made an 80% investment in a night.
That's what I'm saying. What if you had that information?
Then you just bet you bet $10 million on it and you make about $7.
He said what was the word or phrase he said? Online Bill of Rights.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he said? Online Bill of Rights.
Can you
that
imagine
now,
being able to opt out?
in order for
That's
in order for your stuff to get taken down, you have to have a hearing. And they have to give you an explanation. And that's my favorite thing because we've had videos before that gotten taken down off of TikTok. And all we had to do was change the phrase. If we said Andrew Tate, for example, we've done Andrew Tate reactions. Yeah. If we said Andrew Tate in the title, taken down. Mm-hmm. All we had to say was not his name, and then it usually was fine.
I'm calling Daddy Tate.
Daddy Tate. Oh, my goodness.
I love where we're going as a country. I love the direction of freedom of the press, freedom of speech, giving rights back to allow anybody over 18 years old to opt out of having their data either farmed without their knowledge or being curated to them based off of their political belief. As a conservative, I don't want just all conservative views on my timeline. I want to see dissenting points of view that I might not agree with, because that is how you grow as a human being. You get better, you get stronger. If you're only in your own echo chamber and just listening to what only you want to hear, you're never going to grow.
You're never going to grow.
And you're going to become biased. You're going to become jaded. And ultimately, you're going to become not a very fun person to hang out with, because nobody likes somebody that's so selfish and only wants to hear their point of view.
Well, it's also about how do you listen to opposing views?
Yeah.
Right? Because I could be so strong in my beliefs that you can't move me. Mm-hmm. But how do I interact with people, right? If I can sit down with somebody that thinks we should be a socialistic country and have a beer, for example, if I can do that, walk away and be like, well, man, it's good to meet you. I'm not going to say, oh, dude, you're the worst part of what's wrong with this country, this and that. Like when that person or when people are saying if you wear a MAGA hat that you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys, last night I had a story. I was walking in the supermarket and I was just getting, basic supplies. And what ended up happening was there was there was a woman, she's probably in her mid 40s, late 40s. She had 3 young kids, and my name is Isaac. And so one of her kids' name was Isaac. She's like, Isaac, come back. And I saw that. I'm like, cool. This is an opportunity for me to say hi. There's a little kid. He's like 5. He has my name. So I was like, hey, man, that's my name too. But I was wearing a MAGA hat. And his mom just looked at me and said, shame on you. And I was like, what? So I walked away around the corner and I heard her little child say, why did you say shame on him, Mommy? And she said, because he's wearing a Trump hat. And I was doing nothing but being nice, friendly, but it's because I'm wearing a hat that says Make America Great Again, when it wasn't even Trump who came up with that term. It was Ronald Reagan, then to be used by Bill Clinton, and now Donald Trump. But because it's Donald Trump, who everybody thinks is a Nazi and Hitler, and is going to take away women's reproductive rights, who's going to shut down the border and deport all these illegal immigrants. It's just crazy to me.
I mean, he's going to shut down the border and deport at least the
criminals. Yeah.
And yes, he's going to deport more people, but again, that's a tough issue because I have family and friends that are affected by that. But when it comes to the criminals that have been here illegally, I mean, they have to go.
Yeah,
they have to go. It's unacceptable.
You cannot have a nation without a border and laws. If you don't enforce those laws, then you become a banana republic like Venezuela and you go into chaos. Chaos only breeds more chaos. And so important for us to remember as Americans, we have to sit down at the table and say, what do we agree on? Not coming at it, stabbing each other and just yelling at each other. You're not getting anything done. You're not having an actually productive conversation. You have to bring your issue without getting offended and walking away and being scared about what the other person has to say. It's absolutely insanity.
I want to say this to all the liberals that are watching. Again, we have 8 right now, but we'll get more throughout the days. And thank you all for joining us. This is our second live. I mean, 4 years from now, who knows where we'll be? We're believing, in that God will just take us to those places. But I will say this for all you liberals, is that this is the time for you to make money. What is the first thing you told me that once Trump won? You looked at me and said, bro, we're going to make so much money the next 4 years.
Yep.
And we're not doing anything shady. We're content creators, but we're also business people. We deal with crypto. We deal in finance and business
AI.
And consulting and all those different kind of things, right? So this is the time. This is the time to make a better future. Don't rely on the government. Don't rely on those handouts. Think of how can I make more? If you're working a minimum wage job, that can be a bridge, but don't let that be the end all be all. That is meant to be a temporary thing to a bigger solution. Yeah. So these are the 4 years you can make money. Think bigger, because I'm telling you, the stock market and our entire economy has already dramatically changed. All the different things that's happened with Trump. I mean, Hamas calling, a truce with the Middle East and with Israel.
Putin willing to sit down and actually end the war.
Yeah.
3 days after he was.
And what did Trump say? He said the first day that he wins, even before he gets sworn in, he said, I'm going to call Putin up and we're going to end this. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, no, you can't do that. But it shows when you have a strong leader that people will actually listen.
People want to follow strength.
Yeah, and even other leaders in other countries, they respect that, But any final words?
Yeah, I want everyone out there listening to the sound of my voice to hear this.
The sound
of my voice. America is on the right track. Whether you voted for Trump or whether you voted for Kamala, it's time for us to have unity in this country. It's time for us to get back to where we were as Americans, as patriots that love our country, that want to see us succeed. And free speech is the bedrock of a successful democracy, or as we like to call it, constitutional republic, which America was founded on. We did not come to this country and escape oppression to go back into that system.
Yep.
And we actually created the war in 1776 because of a tax on tea. At I think it was 1 or 2% tax. Taxation is theft ultimately, and it's not how you build a good society. I hope Trump gets rid of the income tax. I hope that he does tariffs to supplement that. He's going to turn the Keystone Pipeline back on. We're going to start being energy independent and energy dominant, which actually there was a lady over in I think it's Eastern Europe. She represents, I believe it's either the UK or Germany, said that they're going to start buying oil from us instead of Russia.
Yeah, they actually did.
Yep.
And Putin said that he's going to buy oil with the US dollar.
Interesting. Strength, I'm telling
regardless,
you,
strength. We appreciate you guys. We're going live, hopefully every Tuesday and Friday. That's our goal, and then eventually every day. But we come out with content Monday through Friday. So thank you for smashing that like and subscribing. But we are Gonna have fun. So join us. And again, Misha, we really appreciate all that stuff. If you can actually email us that, then we can go and get more informed exactly what you're talking about, and we'll do more videos on that. So we appreciate you guys. We are the Wilson Brothers. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Oh, it comes back.